Yet again, the camera has become a target. Yesterday, BBS Television's Ivan Mbadhi was assaulted while on duty covering the NUP presidential campaign trail in Kween District. His crime was not provocation, nor participation. It was simply doing his job, documenting a political process meant to be public, transparent, and democratic.
See what the police is doing to a journalist. Let's go to the venue. Well, let's go to the venue.
I have some injuries on my head. Even the neck, you can see. They have put on my neck what I can't even understand. But they banged my head on the vehicle, and I'm feeling a lot of headache.
We saw them trying to get away your camera.
Yes, they were trying to grab my camera, but I fought so much that they can't take my camera, because the same applies to them. If I try to grab their gun, they fight hard, so that I can't take any gun from them. So the same applies to me. I can't allow my camera to be taken anyhow, because my camera is my gun.
This latest incident is not isolated. It follows a pattern that has come to define Uganda's electoral seasons. 10 months ago, journalists were beaten and harassed in Kawempe North while covering the parliamentary by-elections. Cameras were damaged, microphones silenced, and reporters forced to flee scenes they were assigned to cover. Ironically, this entire campaign is unfolding under the supposed watchful eye of the Electoral Commission. Seeking clarity on how such blatant violations of media freedom could occur in full public view, we reached out to the Commission for comment. Their response, apparently shocked.
A journalist who is doing their job, who is accredited to do their job, who is not breaking the law, who is following the guidelines of the Electoral Commission, should be left and let to do his or her job. That's number one. Number two, the Commission has always been saying that an environment of violence in the electoral process affects everybody, including journalists, and therefore that's why it's a collective call for a peaceful electoral process that will secure even the journalists themselves.
From general elections to by-elections, from campaign trail to polling centers, journalists increasingly find themselves caught in the crossfire of political contestation. What should be moments of civic engagement instead become hostile environments where members of the press operate under fear, intimidation, and physical danger.
It is very saddening that there seems to be no leadership in security forces coming out to speak to these acts of violence. Worse still, these incidents happened around journalists covering the political opposition. A clear indication that within the security circles, it is criminal to cover the political opposition. And that tilts the balance of fairness in an election or in a campaign where you victimize journalists covering one side, which has led to many senior colleagues in the media industry shunning the said campaigns for fear of a repeat of previous incidents that risked their lives. And that is a clawback in our frameworks regulating press freedom.
Media rights groups say the trend is familiar and predictable. Every electoral cycle, reports of assaulted journalists resurface, raising uncomfortable questions about press freedom, accountability, and the safety of those tasked with informing the public. Despite repeated condemnations from media bodies and civil society, little seems to change on the ground.
But it's so sad that we are not devoting our resources and efforts to maybe building capacities of journalists, but now securing them from the security. It is such a high toll on us to know how to ring-fence ourselves from security. Yet we should be working harmoniously in the same spaces, and we should be running to them for protection. So it is a very big toll on our resources to devise ways of ring-fencing journalists from the security, who are overly armed, possess all the coercive arms of government, and they are at liberty to do as they please.
Uganda's constitution guarantees freedom of the press, and security agencies often pledge professionalism during election periods. Yet the gap between policy statements and field realities continues to widen. As the country edges closer to another critical phase in the electoral calendar, the question remains unresolved. Why does election coverage come with a risk to life and limb for journalists? And more importantly, who will be held accountable when the press is attacked in plain sight? For Ivan Mbadhi and many others before him, the scars, both physical and psychological, are a painful reminder that in Uganda's elections, the truth is often pursued under threat. David Ijo, NTV.